Hello and welcome to EV Loop, powered by Carloop. I'm Adrian Maidment.
And I'm Riz Akhtar.
This episode we're covering No Hands, Almost, Tesla, BYD fixing charging, Riz drives a new EV, chart of the week, and more. Hi Riz.
Hey Adrian, good to be on. It's been a pretty big week with everything that's been happening, particularly around the first major thing around Tesla FSD. Bit of a sneak peek. Is it coming? What does it mean? Who's got a chance to get behind the wheel? And will it actually help Tesla grow their sales?
Those are great questions I was just going to ask you, Riz. So let's get straight into the Tesla self-driving almost. It's out. Some people have driven it. I haven't. I've watched some videos. Some big questions like you've just asked. Is it great? Will it work? How much does it cost? Do I really need it? Is it going to help Tesla sell more cars? On you go.
Right. So let's start with the big number. $10,000, over $10,000 to get the full self-driving package. For some people, that is about 20% of the car. So there's a lot of excited owners that have FSD that are waiting for it. Some with newer, more compatible hardware for cars. So yes, the great thing is it's happening. The great thing is Australia is likely to be the first right-hand car market to have full self-driving, what they call supervised. So you still have to be behind the wheel of the car. The driver is responsible for everything.
Yeah, the name's a little bit not 100%, is it? The name.
Well, it's better than what it used to be. Let's put it this way. It used to be autopilot, or just that's it. Now is full self-driving, supervised. So, is it going to change the way our transport system works? Yes, in time, for sure. What does it actually mean for Tesla in terms of, rolling it out into our markets? I think it's a huge milestone. There was a bit of a snippet that was shared on Tesla Australia and New Zealand X account, a 15-second video showcasing that it's coming soon. Then the Tesla Global account posted that same video to say Australia and New Zealand will be the first markets to get this technology in right-hand drive markets. Another tick in the box. Great. A lot of people are very excited. There were a couple of large media publications that were invited to test it out or to get behind the wheel and see what it's like. They were all generally pretty impressed. We've had a few YouTubers and others that have had a chance to get it in their cars or get it in a car that's supplied by Tesla and drive it around. Seems to do quite a lot of things really, really well. It's not perfect, but it does a lot of things very, very well. The real question here is what's going to happen with Tesla sales. Is this technology going to be enough to drive thousands of new buyers to the brand? The short answer, we don't know. But it's a great activation to really introduce the technology piece that sometimes is missing behind Tesla vehicles in mainstream media. I think it's a great way to engage them. And hopefully it means that, Tesla as a brand can start to reach out to more mass market buyers. But also, I think it's also great from a general EV adoption point of view, because it gets people starting to think about self-driving cars. Some people might be scared, some people might be excited. At the same time, it gets people to start thinking about electric vehicles in general. So overall, it's a pretty positive milestone for Tesla. Would they get thousands of new customers specifically just interested in full self-driving that buy the car? It's looking unlikely, initially anyway, until there's more test videos and people that have a Tesla get behind the wheel and they tell their family and friends about it. That might have a flow-on effect from there, but in the very beginning, it's just great to see that technology being showcased through mainstream media.
It is freaky when you get behind a vehicle like that and it starts driving for you, isn't it? It is a real brain sort of explosion almost.
Adrian, you and I were waiting for our invites to get behind the wheel to check it out. So, I guess when that does happen, actually just last little point on that, Tesla is saying unofficially or officially, I've just seen some stuff online, that it's very likely that when the system is available, it says coming soon, all new Teslas will come with a 1-month free trial of the system. I'm actually more excited about subscriptions coming. So if it's $200 a month and you get to try it out, and if you like it, great. If you don't like it, you can opt out of it. I think that's a good way to experience it. Or Tesla can do promos, 3 months of free full self-driving, try it out. But as far as I'm aware, Australia and New Zealand markets are, let's just say, not as progressive in adopting new technologies like smart driving, such as they have been in markets like China. Let's see what happens, but all in all, it's a positive step.
Okay, we've got actually a few Tesla stories on track for this episode. While we're in Tesla land, we'll mention the high performance Tesla Model Y that's on its way. How's that going to stack up, Riz?
Yeah, Tesla Model Y Performance surprisingly launched in the European market to begin with. And there's a couple of reasons which Tesla hasn't really disclosed, but I think we can discuss them quickly. Just very quickly, background for our audience. The new Tesla Model Y was launched earlier this year. 2 variants were released: the rear-wheel drive, the entry-level model, and the long range. But Tesla, in the previous generation of the car, had a performance variant, which was the top of the range, high speed, high performance, that type of variant that was missing. Tesla's, over the last couple of months, has been spotted testing that car on racetracks and other things. And then they teased something a couple of days ago on the Tesla Europe and Middle East account on X, which most people picked as the new performance. And then, long behold, a couple of days later, it started popping up in the Tesla configurators around Europe, which means this car will be coming originally for those markets from Tesla's European Berlin factory. And it also means that the Model Y Performance at the moment won't be built at Tesla Shanghai, which supplies cars to Australia, New Zealand, and other export markets. It's also not available in the US at the moment. But I think that will start to happen pretty quickly. In the US, what's happening is that they've got a $7,500 subsidy that's about to come to an end at the end of September. So Tesla is selling cars like hotcakes at the moment. So they need their factories in the US to be supplying as many Model 3 and Model Ys so that they can fulfill that demand and get those customers while they're ready, before those incentives run out. So they can't put on another model like a Model Y Performance on the production line, because that will, let's just say, move things out of rhythm for that factory. In China, we have another issue, because in China, as you remember, we discussed on this a couple of weeks ago, that they have got the Model Y long-range 6-seater L variant that has just been announced. Apparently, it got 40,000 orders in the first day and a bit. So Tesla in Shanghai is very busy ramping up production of that new model, along with the Model 3 and Model Y for their local markets and for external markets as well. So I would say that they need to overcome that initial production ramp up for the Model Y L to fulfill that demand in China, and then they will start to introduce the likes of the Model Y Performance, which could mean that it may be pushed into, November, December deliveries in Australia and New Zealand. But, I think there'll be some enthusiasts that will buy that car, but a lot of people are quite happy with the current Model Y long range that is available in our markets. And quite a bit of discounting and incentives going on anyway at the moment before the end of September in our markets. So if anyone's interested, check out the current long range. Anyone really wants to go that extra mile with the new Performance, which has quicker acceleration, has new dampers that have been carried over from the Model 3 Performance, so it will be a bit more sportier. It has a few other additional changes on the inside and exterior, sort of carbon fiber wings and other things added to the car. That will also be a pretty cool car. And it also has about, from memory, about over 50 kilometers of additional range over the previous Model Y Performance. So a pretty good package, probably priced at early $80,000 to mid $80,000 plus on roads by the time it gets released in the Australian market, and likely closer to 90,000 New Zealand dollars when it's launched there.
Okay, we'll wait and see on that. But staying on topic of performance with a bit of China, we'll talk about the new record, the Yangwang U9. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, you're saying it right. So
I'm not sure. It's new speed record, 472.41 kilometers an hour. Top speed, broke the record in Germany test track.
Yeah, look, there's a lot behind that. So quick background again, Yangwang is the luxury brand for BYD. They also have this hypercar. It was a supercar, has new motors in it that makes it a hypercar, 2200 kilowatts, 0 to 100 in, just around 2 seconds, if not quicker. And it has just broken the, top speed record for an EV at 472 kilometers an hour. That is faster than a Rimac, which is, a very high-end hypercar, electric hypercar that,
The Rimac was at 412.
yeah. So, that's 62 kilometers above that. And apparently it could go more, but had to be paused because of, track conditions and other things. So, look, great things, all the things that they said EVs can't do, it's starting to do. Real high-speed stuff, long range, fast charging, quieter, better for the environment. It's all happening now.
It's all happening. It's all happening. And if Rimac is listening, I'm still pretty keen on driving one of those vehicles because I've always liked those.
Yeah, bit of a hypercar. And Adrian, you're a hypercar sort of guy.
I'm a hypercar sort of guy. Coming back to more of a sedate pace, just in some local Australian news. This is in your Driven article. Volvo announces pricing of the ES90 electric sedan.
Yeah, a large electric sedan. So pricing's been announced. It should be here later this year, early next year. Volvo's first electric sedan. And yeah, I think it's priced pretty well for a single motor rear-wheel drive vehicle.
Yeah. And I read that at the moment, the latest I could find about New Zealand said it wasn't coming to New Zealand at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, maybe we'll just... Riz, what have you been driving this week? Last week, I think you said you were going to be in an Audi.
Yeah, so I've been driving the Audi Q4 e-tron. This is their small SUV. It drives pretty well. I think, like most European cars, very well built. There's a very strong door thunk, which, is very reminiscent of a lot of the European cars. It feels nice on the inside, as you would expect from an Audi. Price point wise, it's I think around 85,000 plus on roads.
Yeah, starting from would be a key thing I'd like to say.
That's right, starting from.
I looked at the website.
Yeah. So it's starting from, it's starting up there.
Yeah.
It uses, I think, Volkswagen's platform, which means it has drum brakes in the rear. And, not that it's a bad thing, but I mean, that's what it has. So the interior feels Audi level when it comes to, like, if you compare it to their petrol or diesel cars. So anyone that was looking at an Audi, a normal petrol Q4 may consider the Q4 e-tron. In terms of the way the infotainment system and everything is, it's a little bit more traditional, if that's a way of putting it. It's not what you may find in Teslas and other sort of more tech-driven vehicles, which is, I guess, a little bit of a shame because Audi for many, many decades was known for technology. So it's a little bit behind. I do return that car, and next week I will have a bit more to share on Audi Q6 e-tron, which is bigger, meant to be on a newer platform. Generally, I'm expecting better tech, so we'll have more to share. But all in all, I'm pretty impressed from the point of view that I think, at least there's more models available from European brands like Audi that are fully electric. It will help many of their customers make the switch. Is it going to be a game changer? Probably not. But at the same time, I think it's the right step for them. And I'm expecting a bit more from Q6 e-tron. So looking forward to that and sharing it with our viewers and listeners.
Okay. And just a bit of BYD local news. This is from the Zeekr.com website. It says BYD Australia confirms charging harness fix for the Atto 3 Tesla Supercharger compatibility issues. That's been a bit of an ongoing, can I say saga, Riz? Can I say saga? Or is it just an issue? Is it an issue or a saga?
It's an issue saga. So the issue saga that we've had with the BYD Atto 3 is that many of the earlier models, 2022 and 2023 build cars, could not be charged at the Tesla Superchargers due to an issue with compatibility. After, as you said, a long-standing issue saga that we've just had, they finally got a fix that is going to be available for those that are interested. Mind you, not everybody charges their car at a Tesla Supercharger. Some people are quite happy to charge off their solar, or, they have other charging ways that they can do that, but some people that do like to road trip, I think this is a good thing. So at least there's a fix coming. It's on offer hopefully soon, and then there'll be hundreds of Atto 3 customers that are at least feel like they're being heard, which I think was the main issue around this whole issue saga, that they were not feeling like they were getting heard by BYD.
Yes, and the fix is supposed to be coming to New Zealand as well, which I've read. I'm just now into the mailbag of comments. I had a comment from last week's episode, Riz, wanting to know, where's my question gone? Let me get to my question, which was, okay, here's a question. Any news of any new charger networks coming out of China? I'm thinking BYD, Xpeng, or Zeekr.
Great question. Yes, there have been announcements. I think we've all sort of heard them that, Xpeng, Zeekr Power, and BYD have all spoken about potentially going overseas. The closest one that I've seen so far is BYD. They appear to be hiring a charging development manager in Australia at the moment. So maybe, there's some projects that are coming up where they could be rolling out their own charging infrastructure, which would be great for general EV adoption. Tesla's got a pretty big network. There's a couple of other EV networks and other private operators, ChargeNet across in New Zealand, and Tesla, of course. But it's good to have more networks, and I think vehicle brand-driven charging network will be quite good. I'm really hoping BYD gets started, and also, Xpeng and Zeekr follow as well.
Okay, and we'll move on to segue into chart of the week. Riz, what chart have you got for us this week?
So this week we'll dive a bit deeper. I think we've touched on that we've gone over 300,000 battery electric vehicles in the country. The biggest state that contributes almost a third of all EVs within the fleet is New South Wales in Australia. So in New South Wales, we've exceeded over 90,000 battery electric vehicles on the road. Quite a lot of it is driven by, consumer demand being one. There were some rebates given out a couple of years ago. A lot of that money has since been shifted into rolling out more high-speed charging network and co-funding those sites. That's why you're seeing a lot of charging sites pop up across the state in New South Wales. They're large sites, generally co-funded with the likes of Tesla, Ampol, and others. So that's actually quite positive to see. So it encourages more people to think about electric vehicles. On top of all of that, of course, the prices of vehicles have come down quite a bit. And we're sort of at that early mainstream phase. So we're going to see, New South Wales surpass over 100,000 electric cars on the road by the end of this year. And it's only going to ramp up from here. So New South Wales doing quite well. Queensland, Victoria, and other sort of more populated states are also doing okay. But yeah, the concentration that New South Wales has is really led by many factors, which is great to see. And I think more and more people have confidence to make the switch, including thanks to incentives like curbside charging for inner city apartment dwellers. That means that you can have a place to charge your car a couple of hours a day if you wanted to. And more of those are going in the more inner city populated parts of Sydney. So all in all, pretty good to see that almost a third of all electric vehicles are based in New South Wales.
Okay, and just getting to sort of a summary, I want to take it back to where we started with Tesla. Just looking at their European sales, there's a few articles, including from The Guardian, which says basically sales down, slump 40% in Europe. BYD looking quite excited about the market.
Yeah, it's an interesting time for Tesla in Europe. The sales are down there. They're also quite a bit behind compared to where they were in Australia last year as well. Part of it is to do with the Model Y unavailability this year, because it was relaunched in January. It took a couple of months to get the first couple of cars in. I think Tesla will get close in terms of they will start to catch up a little bit. Whether they'll break last year's sales that they had in Europe and here in Australia and New Zealand, at this stage, it's looking unlikely. But, things can change pretty quickly if they decide to bring their affordable model. Maybe that will shake things up a little bit if there's a Tesla available under 50 grand. Maybe a lot of people get very excited about it, but I think the deliveries of those cars are likely to start in Q1.
Okay. Is there anything else you want to sort of cover off?
No, that's it. I think it's getting quite exciting now. There's obviously, as we always discuss, there's a couple of shows coming up in Melbourne, Sydney, and other parts of Australia and New Zealand, so keep an eye out for those. And yeah, looking forward to sharing a few more bits on EV sales in Australia and New Zealand next week when we have that data available. But initial data sort of suggests it's going to be a better month than what July was.
And if you do have any questions or comments, let us know in the questions and comments section of YouTube, and we'll get back to you with our answers to those questions and comments.
For sure. Looking forward to the next one, Adrian.
Okay, thank you, Riz. See you next time.
See ya.